Hello, my friends. I'm Lala. If you have never heard of the Closet Unhaul, I don't know why you clicked on this video, first of all, but if you're just learning about the Closet Unhaul, I will go ahead and link in the description the playlist so you can watch the series that I'm about to discuss. I am not interested in doing a lot of editing. I'm putting out like 17 videos in 2 weeks, so this is very hot. This is gonna be a long video. If you liked my Closet Unhauls, you're used to my face being on your screen for a length of time. So I hope you are cool with this lengthy, chatty video. Okay, I want to start by saying thank you for all of your watching, interacting, liking, subscribing to me because of the Closet Unhaul I created. The intent of the Closet Unhaul, contrary to what so many people are commenting, was to get rid of the books in my closet that I had not read. People seem to think I'm just like out of space in my house, and they're like, well, why don't you get rid of books you've read and then you have bookshelf space for your unread books? Or why don't you read some of the books in the closet and get rid of those ones and then keep the ones you haven't read? Okay, the purpose of the unhaul was to get rid of books that I'm not going to read. I started BookTube at this point 3 years ago now. And in my first year of being on BookTube, I was just getting back into reading in general. I hadn't read for like 5 years because I had a kid and it just seemed impossible. So once I finally got around to reading again, I discovered BookTube. And what that did was introduce me to hundreds of books all at the same time. I also had very little funds in my bank account for books 3 years ago. So what I did, and especially my first year on BookTube, was go to the thrift store and buy all the books that I recognized, that I saw mentioned in a video, that I recognized the author's name. Because I was so out of touch with like the book world and what I even liked to read that I was just buying everything. And what happened is over the next 2 years is they just accumulated in my closet. And I didn't really know if I even wanted to read most of them. So I started reacting to hauls from exactly 2 years ago to see what books I had bought and to assess if I had read them yet and if I was actually going to ever get to them. And so I put the pressure on myself to read all of those books in that month, or I proved that I really wasn't interested in them and they were just going to collect dust for the rest of my life. So my concern was never my book collection. I was never concerned about the amount of books I own. I've never been concerned about it. I like to collect books that I've read. I like to own every book that I've read. I don't get rid of books that I hate like a lot of people do. I have since bought these beautiful bookshelves that house all of my books and could fit all of the books from my TBR shelf and the books in my closet, but I just don't like how that looks, so I'm keeping the closet. So that was the intent of the Closet Unhaul. And why the Closet Unhaul is not continuing is for a ton of reasons. I'm gonna just jump into the stats and like what got accomplished by the Closet Unhaul, and then I'll talk more about like why it's not continuing and just like my feelings about it and stuff. So every single month I did these little tallies. There was 3 categories: books that I had read from that haul, books that I had unhauled and since gotten rid of, and books that were still unread, and that created my TBR for the month, that last number. So those 3 numbers every single month kind of fell into a pattern. The biggest number was usually my read books. My next biggest number was my to be read, and my smallest number was books that I've unhauled because, like I said, I don't unhaul books very often. It was surprising to me though that the read number was bigger. When I started the series, I thought that the to be read chunk would be bigger every month, but it was actually like, to compare, like February was 8 read, 6 unread. March was 8 read, 4 unread. April was 5 read, 9 unread. May was 9 read, 6 unread. 9 and 3, 2 and 5, 11 and 8, 11 and 8, 10 and 7, 6 and 1, 8 and 6. That's how it went throughout the entire year between books I read and books that I didn't read. So in total, in 2015, in all of my hauls combined, I bought 211 books. And so every month I ended up with that number of books. There were 6, 4, 9, 6, 3, 5, 8, 8, 7, 1, 6. And from those, it basically ended up being split in half. Every single month, like for the first month of the year, I had 6 books I had to read. And at the end of the month, I had read 3 and I got rid of 3. The next month, I had 4 books I had to read. I read 2, I got rid of 2. And that's pretty much a trend throughout the entire year. So of the entire 211 books, are you staying with me? I had bought 211 books. Of those entire 211 that I bought in that year, there was 63 total that I had not read yet. Of those 63 that were like the TBRs for every single month of the Closet Unhaul, I ended up reading about 30 of them and unhauling 30 of them. So what has been accomplished by my Closet Unhaul is all of the books in my closet, 60 have left the closet. 30 of them are unhauled and at like the women's shelter or the thrift store, or I resold them to a used bookstore, and 30 of them are now on my red shelf, my big living room red shelf. So I do feel like I accomplished the Closet Unhaul. I unhauled 60 books from the closet. However, the closet has not changed, because if I bought 200 books in 2015, imagine how many books I have bought since then. So originally when I started the Closet Unhaul, I had 250 TBR books. Like in total, all of the physical books I owned but I haven't read yet. I had 250. That's on my TBR shelf, that's in my closet, 250. And I said I wanted to get it down to 200. And if I had actually thought that through, because I didn't, I just said it on a whim, I would have realized that that math makes no sense. Technically, I did accomplish those numbers. I had 250 books total and I got rid of 60. So I only have 190 of those books that were already here. However, my total number of books here is now 280. So I got rid of 60 books from my TBR shelf, but I also bought like another 90 books this year that ended up on my TBR shelf. Or actually, if you think about it, that math doesn't make sense, because there are other books that were on my TBR shelf that weren't part of the Closet Unhaul that have left my TBR shelf. So I bought more than 90 and added more than 90 to my TBR. So I did accomplish what I set out to do. I got rid of books. I read a lot of books that I probably wouldn't have gotten to if I didn't force myself to do it through this series. And my TBR shelf would be a lot more full if I hadn't gotten rid of those books. So like, nothing has really changed back here in regards to number. Like nothing looks like it's been accomplished, but it would be even more full if I hadn't done the series. And those are the numbers. I can also give you the numbers as far as ratings to tell you how successful in regards to books that I enjoyed. So of those around 30 books that I read, my ratings were 3 5 stars, 8 4 stars, 13 3 stars, and 6 2 stars. So I read a lot of really average books. However, I ended up finding some favorite books because The Secret History was in the closet and Blood Red Road was in the closet, and those are two of like my new favorite books of all time. So that's really cool. I got that out of the Closet Unhaul. Also, Going Bovine, How to Love, More Than This, and The Dinner. Those are 4 books that I read also because of the Closet Unhaul, and they ended up being 4 stars and things that I rave about constantly. So overall, my thoughts on the Closet Unhaul are pretty positive. It stopped being fun about halfway through the year, and I think you could tell that it wasn't fun because I told you how much not fun I was having. There were a couple months where I felt like rejuvenated and there was exciting things coming out of the Closet Unhaul. And overall, like, for my channel, it was a great thing. It's the most popular thing on my channel. It gets the most views out of everything. And it brought a lot of you guys to my channel to subscribe and watch the other stuff that I do. However, it truly hindered a lot of other stuff for the year. Like, it did not let me do a lot of other creative things that I wanted to do. Like, I had so many ideas this year that I couldn't do because I was forcing myself to read those 5 to 10 books every single month. And I say that like lightheartedly because I know I wasn't forced to read those books and I wasn't stressed out. Like, I don't let reading stress me out. For you guys who are always like, oh, don't stress about it. I'm not actually stressed. Like, maybe I put on like a, I don't know, a character, but reading is fun for me and reading will always be fun for me. I just put the pressure on myself because I started the series and I couldn't just stop the series. So I now have the opportunity to stop the series because it was a year-long thing and it's over, and it's for sure over. But like, the negative aspects of the closet unhaul, I mean, I could list them for days. It made me DNF other books that weren't closet unhauls because I'm like, why would I waste time on this if I should be reading a closet unhaul? It didn't let me do creative content where I wanted to read like a certain type of book for a week, or like all of an author's books in a month, and I just couldn't do like fun stuff like that. So I have fun stuff like that planned for 2018. I barely read any library books and didn't support my local library like the entire year. It made readathons a lot more stressful because they have these, I always do readathons with challenges and I love doing the challenges, but I couldn't participate in certain readathons, or I like couldn't read what I wanted to for a readathon because I had to make my closet unhaul also fit into the readathons. It also made me never choose TBR books that weren't part of the closet unhaul, which was weird. The only things that I read this year were brand new releases and ARCs and the closet unhaul. Like, barely anything off of my actual TBR that I was just excited to read, I couldn't pick up. I also ended up turning down some review copies that I would have been excited to read, but I was worried about the time frame that I had to read it and review it in. It was just like weird not being able to pick a book on a whim. And I do thrive on organization and I like to plan ahead, and I loved planning the closet unhaul and my ARCs and everything at the beginning of the month, but I never got to just like go to my shelf and pick up a book, and that was a really weird experience. Obviously, I recognize that I did this to myself. I put the pressure on myself. Like, well, I mean, you guys were on top of me if I wasn't getting rid of a book, which I told you to do, so that's fine. And also, it would have been fine if I was a normal person who did normal book hauls that were like 10 books, you know? But my hauls were 30 books. My hauls are always like 30 books. Anytime a booktuber does a giant book haul, it's like 20 books. And I'm like, then what? Why am I not calling every book haul I do giant book haul, humongous book haul, excessive book haul? Because that's just like the norm for me. I could get that clickbait. So overall, like I said, my thoughts on the closet unhaul are mostly positive. But it definitely hindered a lot of other things for my reading and for my channel. And while I appreciate you guys watching this series and interacting and being part of my channel and coming to subscribe because of the series and supporting it and asking me to do it again, the answer is 100% no. There's no chance of me doing it in 2018. I might entertain the idea for 2019, but I don't know, because like I said, the closet unhaul was inspired because my first year on BookTube was such excessive used bookstore hauls that were not a lot of books that I desperately wanted to read. And since then, my hauls have not gotten smaller. I haven't changed the number of books that I was buying, and I never intended to. The closet unhaul was never gonna be the start of me buying less books. Like, that was literally never even like on my mind. But I have gotten a lot more selective in the last 2 years, and I'm more purposeful with my purchases, and I don't just, I mean, there's lots of times I buy books that I don't know the synopsis, but I have a lot of people who like, whose opinion I trust, who liked it, or I've read from the author before, or something else, and it's not just a book that I've literally just heard of before. And that's what I was picking up my first year on BookTube. So all of that is to say, if you are only here for the Closet Unhaul, if you are hoping it will come back and that's the only reason you're sticking around, don't, because it's not. I really do appreciate your guys's like input and your suggestions, and you have no idea the amount of comments and messages and tweets I get every single day telling me how I could change the Closet Unhaul to make it work for next year. And my answer is no. I don't know how to say it in any more like of a kind way, but like I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it. I don't feel the need to do it anymore. And I especially wouldn't want to do it if it's not the same thing. I see all of your feedback that is like, we just want to see your reactions. It doesn't matter to us if you are actually reading the books every month. Like, it could just be an assessment and you can just see and react to like the books you've read or not. But the reaction wouldn't be the same. My reaction is there because holy shit, I have to read this book in the next 30 days. If I didn't have to read the book, like, it wouldn't be interesting. And if I'm not accomplishing anything by it, I have no interest in sitting there and watching myself talk for 20 minutes about books that I bought 2 years ago. So I'm ending the Closet Unhaul on a high note, rather than dragging it out and making it not fun for me and potentially not fun for you. I'm just ending it now. I'm genuinely sorry if that upsets you, because I know if my favorite YouTuber stopped a series they were doing, like, I would be upset. But the Closet Unhaul is over. I loved it for what it was while it was and what it has accomplished for me and for my channel. And yeah, the sun is setting. I'm gonna go. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you will stick around if you've even watched up until this point. Comment below if you stayed until the very end. And I will see you guys later, because I'm still here. The Closet Unhaul isn't, but I am. And I'll go ahead and show you a flash of what the closet looked like at the beginning of the year and what it looks like now, because it has changed. It's more organized. There's just not any less books than there was already. Bye.